Okay. Today, we are watching something I am very excited for. I was praying and hoping, and I got on my knees. I said, God, please off Spider-Man. Sorry, that was a Spider-Man 3 reference, but I was praying someone would go to TGS and get Neverness to Everness footage. Shout out to Braxophone. Really cool dude. I actually met him at TwitchCon. Very nice guy. Shook my hand. Didn't donut wall me. Just a solid dude. Honestly, can't say enough positive things about the homie. But he has Neverness. I tried Neverness to Everness early, and it blew me away. So,
okay, before I say anything else, this video is not sponsored, like in any way, shape, or form. They did not.
We're going to be pausing a lot. We're going to be breaking things down. We're going to be looking into it on the side already. I already see a 4-team composition as opposed to, I believe in the other trailers, it was a 3-team composition. You do have the E, you have the Q. I don't know what that is. We have their health bar, and they do have a shield. Again, this might be a little lengthy. He uploaded a 17-minute, 22-minute video. I'm going to be pausing this and trying to break it down as much as possible. Let's go.
Not pay me to say this. They didn't incentivize
There's a car
me to say
behind
this.
him.
They didn't give me anything. I legitimately just went to Tokyo Game Show today, just looking at games and
Pollo Show.
and I found out that Neverness to
Pollo
Everness
Show.
actually had a booth there at Tokyo Game Show. Now this is weird to me because as far as I know, Neverness to Everness was a really new reveal. Like this game had no info on it, and then they just dropped the trailer, and everyone was like, "Whoa, that looks so cool!" And then proceeded to forget about it because they were playing 17 other gacha games. And usually when games reveal in the gacha space, it's usually like, okay, the game is revealed. Now we're gonna have 3 betas and the game will be out in 2 years. And that's like how it feels like it goes every single time. But Neverness to Everness actually had a playable version.
They did a little run up the wall, it seems.
Tokyo Game Show, and they actually let me just record over the shoulder footage of me playing the game. They didn't. I'm assuming they didn't have OBS. On
okay, so this person's skill allows you to run
so
up
anyways,
walls.
everyone
Okay.
had like a 10-minute timer when they went in to go play the game, but they actually gave me like 45 minutes because I was recording and free promo and whatever. So I figured that I would just talk about it and give you guys my honest first impressions. Actually.
Do not stare at the screen.
Oh my god, bro. I gotta get ad blocker. Holy crap. Get out of here. Do not stare at the screen, your mum.
That's not entirely true because I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't like it. There would not be a video on this game if I did not think that this was awesome. By the way, if you can't tell, this is like completely unscripted. I'm just kind of watching the video back as I'm talking about it. Okay, so what is NTE or Neverness to Everness? If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically a gacha game that was recently revealed, and it's sort of like an urban fantasy gacha game, so they kind of have some fantasy elements, but it's meant to take place sort of in the city. There's cars and things like that, and you can actually get a car and customize it. You can drive it around, which is super sick. There's traversal of buildings and stuff, and then your combat system feels sort of similar, at least to me, a mix between some GENSHIN and some Wuthering Waves. Okay. Now, honestly, if you've been playing all of the recent gacha games, this probably doesn't feel like anything super important or new to you, and that's totally fine, because I get it. I'm a content creator for gacha games, and I've played like all of the new ones that have come out that have been supposedly competing with each other, and ultimately I burnt out, which is why my upload schedule has slowed down so much, because I'm so tired of playing the same gameplay loop and the same gacha games over and over and over. So when I tried Neverness to Everness and I actually really liked the game, it was super surprising to me. I found myself just playing through this sort of like trial demo thing. Well, actually, I think it's just the full game, but like they limited your playtime, and they specifically wanted you to avoid parts that were like unfinished, so you know, normal stuff. But I found myself getting completely sucked into all the different things there.
Yo, the graphics look sick, the character designs look sick, the whole background, the whole painting thing, so it looks valid. It looks sick.
To learn and know about the game. Anyways, I've been yapping so long about this. Let me tell you specifically what I really liked about the game. First off, when you get into the game, the opening for the game is different, which I know is like the bare minimum, but hear me out. Dude,
bro, this character looks fire.
Where you like wake up and you have amnesia and there's just like a floating thing next to you,
or
and
in
then you have to like listen to this really high pitched yapping,
and never catch
they talk
me.
for you instead of you actually having dialogue. Like, I just really hate that. I'm so tired of that. NTE doesn't do any of that. They kind of just are like, oh yeah, you need to help us with this like mission, and then you just get kind of thrown into it, and it's really—
Bro, is that not like solo leveling where they just like walk into a wall? Like they just walk into, like they're walking to like a gigantic painting here, and like that looks, bro, this looks crazy. This is
really cool and like modern. And the environment they throw you into is so interesting and appealing.
Sick.
It's not your normal fantasy setting. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's like this urban sort of like, oh, I'm gonna run through this like train station, but there's grass and trees everywhere too. I don't know if
they nailed it with the graphics.
Is the right way to describe it, because I don't feel like the buildings are quite that complex. But the opening they throw you into is a lot more exciting than some of the other stuff I've played. Maybe again, it's just because I'm tired of the whole like amnesia trope, and I think they even mentioned something about this character not knowing who they are, remembering who they are. But like that's not the main point they try to draw across. It's just like a side plot of like,
this person's name is Min. It's over. I could already see it. I could see the memes in the horizon. mint pickers rise as we take on a new gacha game. As Genshin Impact's 4th anniversary was a flop. Yeah,
oh yeah, you'll figure it out later. Anyways, go do this mission, you know, and I don't know, I just had a lot of fun with that. And the next thing I noticed, I mean, aside from the gameplay stuff, because I'll get into that in a little bit, all of the cutscenes, the characters' expressions, dude, and the way they do the cutscenes is so sick. I mean, I just said expressions, but it's expressive. Like, when I played Zenless Zone Zero, I felt like I was watching, like, a movie when I was in cutscenes, and Neverness To Everness feels like I'm watching an anime in these cutscenes as well, which is, like, super cool, because I think that's a super important part to storytelling. If you're gonna have characters yapping forever and ever and ever, which is a commonality between all of these Chinese gacha games, it is so incredibly important to have something moving on screen, because God knows this entire generation has been ruined by Subway Surfers.
They really are doing the
next to
anime
Reddit
stuff.
story times on TikTok. There needs to be some sort of movement there, or we're going to, like, stop caring. And I feel like it's just so incredibly important to retention. And it also shows that the devs want to create an experience that is enjoyable through multiple steps of the way. There's also some humor in there that didn't land super well with me because it was in Japanese, and for some reason when I am playing video games, I really struggle to pay attention during JP dub. Like with anime I can do it for some reason, but with games I can't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird.
Dude, Star Rail and Genshin's like not anime, but like their cutscenes are just, I miss my sister. I loved her. She was so important to me. I need to get it back from the Abyss Order. And then that's the whole movement for the whole Archon quest for the Traveler. And like that's it. Like and so like they're doing the this and the this. I mean, like, look, whatever you think about that, like they're actually doing like animations and movement, and it feels fluid. It doesn't feel, I shouldn't say feels, it looks fluid. It doesn't look rough or anything like that.
But even though I don't understand Japanese, the humorous moments actually hit with me because I could see the effects in the background of the characters' facial expressions and the way the sounds worked. It just like made it very, very clear what was happening. And I don't know, I feel like, you know,
no, I don't have ad blocker on my Opera. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Expressing it as if you're a toddler, but not explaining it like you're a toddler. It's just the visual stimulation is really good for my ADHD brain. Fortnite's oversaturation, constant action combat has absolutely obliterated the attention span of multiple generations of gamers.
True
and this game like really combats that, which I've just been super happy with. Oh, and also they have a skip button, which I can't believe I'm saying is like a positive thing, as if that shouldn't be the norm.
Oh
but
my
I guess maybe we're moving back towards the norm and away from the abnormality.
Oh my God,
I guess
God
this game
bless.
is actually anything but normal.
Holy shit.
I really like that about it. You've probably seen some of the background gameplay already, and it's 30 FPS, so it will look a little bit choppier probably on the YouTube playback, but when I was playing it, it was a smooth 120 FPS, baby. That's right, it is completely unlocked at 120 FPS. God bless.
They have two functions that every gacha gamer who has started with Genshin Impact, I think every just gamer in general, has wanted. 120 FPS and a skip button. You genuinely nuclear cinema. This is top tier. This is exactly what people want. If you don't want to sit through the story, although I think I will because it looks very interesting. It's just sick, man. This shit is crazy. It's just crazy. You know what it really is reminding me of in terms of like the animations and the way they're doing the transitions. It kind of reminds me of the most recent animated Spider-Man movie, Into the Spider-Verse, whatever it was called. I don't remember on the top of my head, but like they're walking and like the background's changing and the art style of the characters are changing, and just obviously like the art itself is not the same, but like the way the transitions are happening. This looks really good.
I don't understand why games are limiting to 60 FPS. That is such a stupid decision. Like, unless your game is literally incapable of running at 120, but it is the year 2024, please do better. So yeah, buttery smooth, 120 FPS, and honestly, the game just looks super polished. You know, that was one of the other things that surprised me. They had a playable demo, which is great, but the game is also super well polished, which means that it could honestly be pretty close to release, but I don't want to get my hopes up.
I don't know if it'd be close to release, but I'm hoping it's close to a beta. I think one beta, the selfish portion to me is going to say, give us a beta and put it out. The patient and more, you know, very Zamir, very mindful Ethan is going to say, we'll probably get 2 betas. I hope we don't get 3. I don't think it needs 3 based off what I'm seeing. It looks like it's only going to need 2. Sorry, I had to check my YouTube. Something was going on my YouTube. It was weird. But yeah, I would say give us 2 betas and let's see what the deal is.
Because doing that could just be bad for your happiness and stuff like that. But yeah, the polish is really insane. Compared to Tower of Fantasy, this game feels much more. I don't want to say AAA, but it feels like it had a really high budget and some very talented developers working on it. Because
that one dude in the Tower of Fantasy directory absolutely funded this game. Is he still streaming right now? Tower of Fantasy. Shout out to Second Poco and Jay Stern. No, he's not. But that one dude who has like 400 or 500 people in his chat, like at all times, shout out to him. He's a real one for funding this video game. I love you and I appreciate you. I don't know their name, but shout out to them. Good dude.
I feel like the movement in this, the animations of everything just look.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. First of all, screen looks sick. Give me Persona vibes. But so we have elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements. I assume, because if you look at it, I mean, you're seeing Mints here, Sakiri's here, Nanali's here. They got to change the names. The names are crazy. Your main character is a physical element that looks like physical. I assume most likely it's the same thing. The main character get all the elements. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not bad. 6 elements at launch is not bad at all.
Looks so incredibly good. And I actually really like the character designs. I have heard some people don't really like the.
I like these.
The sort of like oversaturated stuff, but I love it. I mean,
oversaturated
Fortnite, Subway Surfers, brain rot. Oh, and while we're talking about the movement, the movement feels very fast-paced, which is good.
Okay.
I think some games can feel kind of sluggish based on the inputs or like how characters move. I guess like.
Oh my god, bro! I don't touch grass. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Stop it. Stop it. Brax, you're welcome.
Me, sir, would you like to earn income while you learn how to code?
Bro, I would smack. If you came with me saying, excuse me, sir, I'm smacking you in the head.
Maybe that's just a personal preference thing, but like Monster Hunter is an example. A lot of people really like the weight of Monster Hunter, but I like the weight of Grand Blue, which is like, it doesn't feel that heavy.
I like the saturated stuff.
In this case, when you're playing like an anime sort of game, I think it makes more sense to have less weight.
What was that?
It doesn't feel that heavy, and in this case, when you're playing like an anime sort of game, I think it makes more sense to have less weight.
It was their G button.
I think that very well.
So it looks like for whatever reason their G button has some sort of projectile in there. Maybe it's like that gadget that they just added for Wuthering Waves, where like you shoot things. I guess for free.
I'm not really hating on Monster Hunter or anything.
Oh, and there was the R. The R's on
covering wilds when it comes out.
R's on
cooldown. Okay, really cool. But I'm just saying that game has like pretty slow feeling movement in comparison, whereas this game feels very reactive and very fast paced. I'm not going to get into all of the mechanics of the combat and everything because I feel like that could be a whole nother video and I want to milk you guys for ad revenue. But what I do really like about Neverness To Everness is, well, honestly, it's a couple of things about the combat. First off, you have your normal QE thing going on. You have your skill and your ultimate. And those skills...
Bro, that looks sick. Like that, like just, I'm a big fan of the saturated. I love the saturated thumbnails. I saturate my thumbnails. I love that. This looks phenomenal. This looks just aesthetic. The aesthetic is crazy.
Skill and ultimates just feel so impactful. I think it might just be like a design thing. I don't think it's like, oh yes, all skills and ultimates are impactful, but I feel like they did a really good job of making it feel like they just hit.
Yeah, they hit hard.
QTEs as well. So if a character's icon on the top right just starts flashing, or maybe not the top right, but the right side starts flashing, you can switch to them and you get like some sort of special like intro skill.
Intro like Wuthering Waves. Okay.
But also, I don't feel like the combat is quite as complex as Wuthering Waves, which I think is a really good thing. I honestly think that Wuthering Waves is a super good game, but the combat can be less than appealing to a lot of people that don't want to learn all the intricacies of it. So having combat that's less complex than that is actually kind of nice. But as I mentioned before, it feels somewhere between Genshin and Wuthering Waves, where there's some mechanics of like real-time action, quick combat, but there's also a sort of system that is similar to Element.
We are 8 minutes and 39 seconds into this video. This boss has done more movement, more attacks, more transformations, shots of the picture frame, and just more complex than any single Genshin Impact boss that I have fought in the open world that is not a weekly boss. That's insane. You might say I'm hating. Excuse me, but I think a lot of times, I can't say with WUWA. WUWA is different. With Genshin, the boss design is horrendous. The boss design is some of the worst, most boring boss designs possible. This is sick. This is insane, bro. This is the title of the video. This game's insane. It's insane. Nuclear cinema.
Mental reactions. No, I'm not going
Like,
to go
what
into
is
a ton of
this?
detail about it because, one, I don't really want to be wrong, and I didn't learn everything there is to know during my 45 minutes of game.
Oh, okay, wait, hold on. So, there are reactions. So, Blossom, after triggering Esper Cycle, a Lemon Stem will spawn near the character, and Blossom 5 lemon blooms. Lemon blooms will then fly towards targets and explode every 2 seconds, dealing damage around the area. Excuse me. So, this reaction seems it could be triggered with the main character and anyone under this element. It says Blossom enhancement. Each lemon is spawned with 100% attack rate. Oh, wait a second. So there's each character does something different, it seems. So Blossom enhancement. Each lemon splits into 2 and explodes upon hitting a target within the range. Then with Mint, it says Blossom enhancement. It's called Super Mint. That's insanity. That has to be a meme. Each lemon stem will spawn 5 additional lemon blooms with 100% increased attack rate. So those little, I don't know if anyone's played Destiny 2. Shout out my boy Austin. No, he has, like, if you consume like a grenade, it starts shooting things out. It's like on your side. So maybe it's something like that. And then the hide and sink. Blossom enhancements, lemon blooms attack range expand by 200%, increasing damage by 100%. So it doesn't seem to just be my assumption. I want to make this clear. My assumption from being a professional gacha gamer and a professional gamer, I beat Elden Ring in 20 minutes, trust, true and real. 24-hour Elden Ring's coming up. My assumption is that you have the base reactions, which is this, but then what incentivizes you to even do more reactions and makes the characters feel even more special is all of them are different. If we look at Nanali, spawns 1 additional lemon stem. An additional 1 plus the 5 is 6. Up to 6 lemon stems can be present on the field now.
Gameplay. And 2, this is...
And she has CC. Lemon Stem will continuously draw in nearby targets.
Probably an earlier build, I'm assuming, because, you know...
Remora triggers an Esper cycle that targets enters Remora. So this is now a different reaction. Okay, so this combines with this. We don't have any characters. After triggering the Esper cycle, the target enters Remora, slowly its movements and attack speed. Effect decays over time. Okay, it's a DOT. Will have shorter duration if repeatedly applied. Sprawl. After triggering Esper Cycle, the targets take an additional instance of unison damage equal to psyche damage. Okay.
It's at the convention and the game is
Good though.
released yet. So things could change, but there are interactions between different elements of damage that...
Welcome to Rules Talk.
Bro,
If you want to
after this I'm getting an ad blocker. Getting an
you
ad
can
blocker.
deal, which means there is going to be quite a bit of complexity to combat. You do have perfect dodges, and actually the way dodges work in this game is super interesting. I really like how they did it.
Oh, wait a second. So now they're including elemental reactions for 3 elements. Now, it doesn't sound like a big deal because of Genshin, but still, that's pretty sick. This is pretty fire.
In most games, you can just spam dodge and it takes like stamina. And by most games, I mean specifically Genshin Impact. Well, in this game, you actually have 3 dodges with cooldowns, and these dodges will allow you to perfect dodge. And when you run out of dodges, then you can't do that, so you actually get punished for dodge spamming. You cannot spam dodges, at least not with any of the characters that I have right now.
Sounds good.
And I think that's actually good. I think that means that you do have to time your dodges. You're gonna have to learn not to spam, but it's not so complex that like it punishes people for being bad at the game because you have 3 whole dodges.
Looks
like
beautiful.
You're fine. And if you time an attack
Absolutely
when
beautiful.
you're done dodging, or at the right time, you kind of do this like really powerful hit, and it just feels really satisfying. Not quite like a parry in Wuthering Waves, but it just, you know, it hits different. But speaking of harder hitting, so you also sort of have this like break bar on bosses, and when it's completely full, you'll like stun the boss and they'll take some extra damage and they'll be like remaining stunned for a second. It is really sick. I like how they do that. And because that is a thing in the game, they also have more stats. So not only do you have to worry about like your own scalings and stuff, but you also have to worry about like your break, or not break, your stun.
Yeah, your stun,
break. No,
stun
maybe
effect.
it's break. Filling
Whatever
up that
it is.
gauge, how fast it fills up, and then I'm sure there's other multipliers that go into it too.
Those are the blossom things. Those are the blossom things right there in combat.
Saying is that there's a lot more
that is sick.
to sort of think about when it comes to min-maxing characters.
Yo, that is fire, bro. I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. Okay.
And the combat feels different enough to where it's going to be interesting. Maybe the characters are all going to end up being built the same, like in Genshin, Star Rail, and every other game where
and
it's
this
like
is Blossom when it pops up, yep.
attack, damage, crit. But at the same time,
Blossom.
because there are sort of like elemental reactions, and because there is reactionary combat, and
wait, what was that?
There is going to be a lot of
wait, what was that? Hold on.
Is reactionary.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna put this. I want to break everything down. We'll make a separate video where we break down things even more. But I want to see every single little detail in this video just to have an idea of what's happening. Those are the blossoms. Those are spitting out attacks, which is dope. I assume that's just the talent tree, but still, I want to see what's on that tree. I don't want to let anything pass. So basic attack, skill, ultimate, fade in. Okay, yeah. Esper abilities. Cool. Listen, man, call me crazy. That's what we're here for. Crazy.
Reactionary combat.
Let's go.
And
health, attack, defense, charge speed. Charge speed is interesting. Charge speed is very interesting. Critical chance, critical damage, 550. Essentially, I don't know. Break intensity, healing bonus received, cosmos vulnerability.
For playing around with that and optimizing teams and stuff, and I think that's really cool. I don't know why I emphasized cool so hard there. But I guess that kind of ties into the next thing, which is going to be character improvements. So basically, you have like talent trees. It's not really a tree. It's kind of like talents in Genshin Impact. You kind of just have like your skill, your basic attack, your ultimate. But you also have some passive abilities, which I mean, I guess are also similar. But on top of that, you kind of have traces. Maybe traces is actually the best way to describe it. You get some bonus stuff there, and you'll fill that out, and you'll improve your characters and make them stronger. Pretty normal.
Running mid-channel surrounding win and dual blade. Oh, it's just our ultimate description.
But all in all, it feels like there's a lot of progression and complexity.
You get hit by a car is
the
real
question.
question.
Weapons, there are probably going to be some kind of artifacts, but we couldn't actually look at those in this version.
GTA.
I'm assuming that's because things are not finalized.
The nice version of GTA.
That's totally fine. One other thing I will say, I don't know if I'll have the footage for this by the time I'm making the video, because Gacha Smack was actually there, and that was really cool. I got to meet him in person, and he actually fought one of the bosses. I didn't get to fight the motorcycle boss, but he found it. And if I get the footage, I'll put it in the video now. But basically, the boss fights seem pretty dang cool. There is
so you can't run people over. But you can crash, brother. You can crash. You can crash into things. Okay.
Right now, which I'm assuming they're gonna fix because we complained about it for 30 minutes. But they don't have a lock-on feature for the bosses, which can be a little annoying. So I'm hoping they add that. So that is one negative, but that's like easily fixed. I feel like with some development time. So hopefully they fix it. And you actually get to the motorcycle.
Following story so late.
I hate this.
Just driving through the city, finding a motorcycle on the road, following him through the tunnel, and following him until he gets pissed off, and you get this whole cutscene, and then you end up fighting him. And it's actually really sick.
Yo, this man
Something
cannot
I was told
drive.
by the staff there while I was playing through the game, and I didn't actually encounter any of this in the city, is that there are different boss spawns depending on the time of day and the weather, which I think is really cool. I think that could be annoying if you have to like farm for certain characters and they require certain bosses to sort of like level up, and then you can't find that boss because you can't force a weather change and stuff. But what I will say is it was absolutely sick to just be running around the city, which I'll talk about in just a second as well, but you probably already see gameplay of it. And while you're just running around the city, like, it starts raining, and now there's water everywhere, and like you're running in water puddles, and the NPCs, all the people around you just start reacting and like holding out umbrellas and stuff. I think that's a really cool detail, and actually the attention to detail in this game just seems really good. Now, we didn't get any footage of this, but while we're on the topic of the city as well, there is a sort of like room system where you can kind of just have a room. I don't know what you can do with that because I didn't really get to play it.
I don't care about
T-Pop personally. They're gonna have some sort of sandbox stuff. They didn't tell me. So, but in the city there are other things to do than just sit in your room and rot all day. You can run around the city, run around at the speed of sound. Got places to go.
It's a big mouth.
All that. You can run up walls if you have the cat girl with the red hair, and that's really quite disorienting, but it's also really cool. I think that you'll kind of get used to it. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. Honestly, maybe we'll never get used to it, and then we'll just start projectile vomiting everywhere.
Holy shit!
I think it's a cool idea and a cool mechanic. And also,
Clamber, God bless.
For other world traversal things, you get a car, which I think I mentioned earlier. You can take it into an auto shop. You can change the car, change the stats of the car. You can also unlock different cars, and you can drive around. I almost called it San Andreas, but that's not actually. where that is at all.
San
Anyways, you
Andreas,
can
nah,
drive
this is
around.
sick,
It's
bro.
pretty cool. If you run over the
I'm
people,
loving
nothing
this.
happens, unfortunately, or fortunately. I don't know. I guess it depends on your target demographic. GTA players might be disappointed, but you can like run over different things in the environment, which I think is pretty cool. You can get some 6-speed, and I think just having world traversal in that way is really, really dope. Other things. I guess the last few things that I have to say about like sort of the UI and the experience is that I think that the UI is, while it is very similar to Genshin, I think that like the character screen is something that I feel like is really fresh, looks super good.
It looks sick.
And I think that like a lot of the ways you interact with things in the environment is pretty different. You know, I had heard that this studio made Tower of Fantasy, and my expectations were super low. As someone that was just watching,
This does not look or potentially feel like a game by the people who made Tower Adverse. Oh my god, I'm thinking of Wuthering Waves, brain rot. Tower of Fantasy. This looks clean, crisp, polished. Tower of Fantasy flopped, so Neverness to Everness could float. I mean, unfortunately, the MMO genre in itself is pretty dead, so like it is what it is. But this is fire. We're gonna get an ad in 2 seconds.
Gacha games come out and just absolutely copied each other and every single mechanic and everything about each other. I wasn't super excited about it. I thought the trailer was cool. I watched the trailer. That was my genuine reaction. I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. You know, like that looks neat. But I wasn't expecting to like this game when I went into it. I genuinely thought this game was just gonna be like all right. I got hands-on with the game and I absolutely love it so far. Like when I tell you, I was genuinely shocked at how fun this game was to play, even just for the short 45 minutes I got to play, with some intro yapping, storytelling and stuff. It was absolutely so sick. I think the biggest problem that I have with a lot of gacha games nowadays is that they do the yoink and twist thing, where basically you just look at whatever's doing well and you try to take that and make it your own thing. Except the problem is that the other gacha games aren't making it their own thing. They're just yoinking. There's no twist anywhere. It's just yoink. And I feel like this game actually did the twisting. And because they did the twisting, the game is actually, it has its own unique identity and it looks really, really good. It plays super well. And man, I am just so stoked for Neverness to Everness. I did not expect it to like it this much. And I really, really hope this game releases soon in a complete state. I don't want them to rush it to completion or anything, because this game is
so you
awesome.
Can't shoot, but I don't think it does any damage.
Stats for us to think about, different ways to think in combat. The character design,
like this just
really
looks insane.
Like
I'm just trying to take it all in.
Embracing real cat girls and not giving us fake cat girls. I think that's a really good step up. Anyways, guys, if you watch this on 1.5 speed, my condolences. You probably didn't understand a single thing I was saying, and if you're not a native English speaker, I feel even worse for you. But those are my honest first impressions of the game after playing at Tokyo Game Show. I really like this game. I was absolutely blown away. And I hope that you guys will be too. I hope that we can get a chance to show this on stream at some point and show you guys live everything about it, perhaps with some better quality and everything.
Go to Brax.
Awesome. I really have such high hopes for it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Leave questions in the comments. Smile. Oh,
you know what? That's.
By the way, I recorded this whole thing in a room in Japan because everyone else was like gonna go to karaoke, and I was like, damn, I really just want to make a video about this game because I loved it so much. But if you're wondering why the audio sucks, that's why.
Have you ever wished you could...
With that being said, you know, a lot of you probably aren't subscribed to me either. You know, a lot of times you watch these YouTube videos and we always say, like the video, hit the sub. Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. Neverness to Everness, I think, has the potential to be a top three gacha game. I think you could easily take... Look, I'm going to keep it a stack with you, man. I think it could take over Wuthering Waves in popularity. This game is going to have mass appeal. It's going to have... It seems streamlined enough. But it does have a complexity to it, to the point where, like, there's elemental reactions, but then there's reactions on top of each character. And that is where the real sweats are going to come into play. And we're going to make a video. I'm going to rewatch this a million times. I'm going to break things down. I'm going to talk about it, my inferences and whatever. And he'll probably make another video we'll react to. But this is insane, man. I think this video I think this game can genuinely be a very successful video game. I loved it. I wasn't as crazy, like, blowing up my mind while I'm watching, because I'm just like, bro, this looks because it does. I'm just trying to take everything in and see what the skills are doing, the attacks are doing. I love it, man. This is a lot. We have a lot of stuff to do this week. Oh my god. That being said, I love you. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.